much. John Heilemann is managing editor of Bloomberg Politics. He is also co-host and executive producer of The Circus, which returns Sunday on Showtime, a division of CBS. John, since Major ended there with VP talk, let's start with that, first of all. So Newt Gingrich's name has been thrown around quite a bit here.
Lots of names been thrown about. You know, the Trump VP process is, like all VP processes, kind of cloaked in a lot of secrecy. But Trump is doing something unusual where he's basically taking people out for a spin.
It's almost like The Apprentice.
There's like a little bit of apprentice-like quality to it. No one knows how many of these things are head feints, how many of them are real. But the weird thing, the genuinely weird thing, is that the short list keeps getting longer. Trump yesterday said he's now got a dozen people on the short list, including a couple generals. God knows where we're going to end up.
But you know, people withdrawing, is that because, sorry, are people withdrawing because they withdraw on their own, or because Trump sent that message saying you're not going to get this?
You know, who knows what's in the heart of men like Bob Corker, who decided. I think Corker, in Corker's case, I think he's actually more interested in being Secretary of Defense or Secretary of State. But you know, there's a complicated thing going on with Donald Trump and the Republican Party right now.
John, you and I were talking a few minutes ago. The big story today, FBI Director Comey, his testimony on Capitol Hill.
Right.
What's going to happen here? I mean, the House Republicans are fired up.
Well, you have a really fascinating thing that happened, right? The other day when Comey came out and said, not going to indict Hillary Clinton, but I'm going to criticize her in a thoroughgoing way. He gave the Republican Party and Donald Trump a huge political opportunity. And there's no one in the Republican Party who does not think Donald Trump has screwed this up comprehensively. The sound you hear all over Washington right now is the sound of Republican heads being banged on desks as they watched Donald Trump last night. Not talking about Hillary Clinton, not talking about James Comey. Who knows? He seems to be incapable of maintaining any kind of message discipline. So the Republican congressional leadership has now taken up what they see as the job of the party, which is to say, we're going to try to capitalize on this politically. Now they're holding basically a snap hearing. You know, normally an oversight hearing takes months on both sides to prepare for. This was called 24 hours after Comey's decision. Now he's up on the Hill, fastest Congress has ever moved on anything ever. If the Republicans do this hearing well, and I mean politically well from their point of view, they could keep this issue alive in a way that Hillary Clinton would not be happy about, because Comey raised a lot of important questions that could be really damaging to her. If they screw it up, it's all over. And the track record of Republicans going after Hillary Clinton on Capitol Hill is not good.
And speaking of Hillary Clinton, she has not personally addressed these findings.
She has not.
So what do you make of that? Does she need to? Does she need to nip this in the bud?
I think it's impossible to think that she will not at some point. She's going to give an interview at some point, right? Between now and the Democratic convention. She's going to sit down with a journalist somewhere. She hasn't done a press conference in months and months, something that I think myself and most of my colleagues think is kind of appalling that she's gone this long without doing a formal press conference. But at some point, she's going to sit down and take questions. There are a lot of questions, and she needs to answer them at some point. You know, yesterday, some people suggested, well, she'll talk about it in the presidential debates. That's way down the line. She's going to have to take those questions. For now, she just wants to kind of get past it, but she's going to have to take the questions eventually.
All right, John Heilemann, thank you.
Thank you, guys.